guys, it's your girl Kim J, and right now you're locked on to Extra Time TV. Take a look.
What's up, football fans? I'm Kevin Campbell.
This is Andre Soplal.
And welcome to Extra Time TV. We're at the Rough at the Center in Gasparillo, where we look back at the most recent game between Trinidad and Grenada. It took place in St. George's, Grenada, and the result was a 2-2 draw, Andre. I mean, Grenada is a team ranked more than 100 places below us in the rankings. Is that a good scoreline?
The thing is, it's interesting. There's different ways you could look at this game. It's a lot of locally based players. Yes, Johanse Marshall and they came back. There's a Mexican contingent, Winchester and so on. But I don't want to say a B team because it's not, because all those guys are pretty good. But what it seems to me is that Dennis Lawrence, as we said in the preview, was trying out a couple solutions. A lot of people had some criticisms at why are we playing Grenada. But I can't get into the logistics of that. I don't know how the process in getting the friendly goes with the TTFA. But I thought it was an interesting result because the game wasn't covered. No. So, that's something, that's a topic we could speak about.
That's not good.
Yeah, we had to go and dig and find. And based on the reports and the interpretations of the game and the brief highlights I saw, which was very hard to find, by the way, it seemed as if the lack of cohesiveness showed on the team. And they conceded early. Yeah. And eventually he threw on Lewis and Roach and those guys and they got the result. But what that says to me is that I interpret it as this. The result may not be ideal, but I think Dennis Lawrence knows exactly what he is looking for. Yeah. And he tried his specific players. He tried some solutions at the back. And I'm thinking when crunch time comes and the international players come back, he will adjust. Now, ideally, we shouldn't be drawing against Grenada. So the 2-2 result is still not great. No matter what, you could spin the analysis around 2-2 against Grenada as a team that's ranked lower down. St. Fete was judged harshly in games on teams of that caliber, Suriname and so on. But it's a friendly, he needs to prepare. I think it's a bit concerning because they seem to have the same lapses we were talking about. According to the report, Dennis Lawrence said he was not happy in the first half, but he liked the reaction. It was a defensive lapse that caused the goal to really tie things up. So, Kevin, it's very difficult to really give a proper assessment, but I can just give my personal thoughts. I think it's not the ideal preparation, but, this is what we got, and we have to trust that Dennis Lawrence knows what he's looking for. And I think I'm a bit concerned because the USA game is a big game, and I was hoping we'd have gotten a top quality opposition. Because just to argue, and I know I'm lingering a little bit on this, is that all right, so we have the local players, which is fine. Then we have the international players, which is fine. Technically, that squad had international players. But when they get together, a lot of those guys are probably going to get axed anyway. They'll probably have a couple inclusions. So only Dennis Lawrence will know what it is he learned from that, and we have to hope that it is enough to take us past that monumental task of playing USA.
In my opinion, the reason why Grenada was chosen was that it was an easy fixture to get. Close proximity, because it's the closest island to us, proximity-wise. But what the counter-argument is that Grenada hasn't played a match in almost a year. And they were able to go one up on us. And our guys, they play pretty regularly and at a much better standard in our local leagues. So that's a bit of concern. And looking at the lineups, looking at how Trinidad played, I think Coach Lawrence wanted to actually see players he haven't had a chance to see perform in a match under him before. Looking at like Brito and Johanse Marshall, these guys, these Central American-based guys, I think Lawrence wanted to test their mettle, see how good they were on the ball, how good they were in the channels and build-up play in a real game situation. So I can see why he did that. Even if he played guys like Botswain from the start, I think the result, and he was a hit on Hector, the result may have been different, but this was an entirely experimental team. And it was a friendly, and I wouldn't give much into it because it was a game that he just wanted to experiment and see what these guys are really made of. Brito started also, Marshall, but guys like Hashim Arcia started and didn't play too well. That said, the second half was much better, and it was a 1-0 in going into the first half, and the second half we actually got on our heels and actually played much better. Introduction of Lewis and Roach and also Botswain came on because Winchester started and didn't perform too well. But Botswain came on, created space, and it was a much better second half from the Soca Warriors. And I like that because it shows that Lawrence, he isn't afraid to make changes. I said that in our preview. as he's bold and he's willing to make these changes. So he did that, they succeeded, and I think that going forward, guys like Botswain certainly made his claim to be that first guy off the bench. And Houghton Hector, he didn't make himself on the field, but we know a lot about Houghton. We know what he's capable of. And it's good to see Johansson Marshall back. Edwards played as well. But Marshall can be that option, maybe off the bench as a centre-back partnership. And last thing but not least, Curtis Gonzalez. Lawrence seems adamant to give that guy as much playing time as possible. And I agree with him. He played the full 180 minutes against Panama and Mexico, and he also started the game against Grenada. He, I think, could be that defensive linchpin that we so desire since back in the day. And the much more games he can get, because defenders, Andre, once they can play their games, they can get accustomed with that back four, with the likes of Edwards playing to the right of him. So that cohesion is what I think was achieved for Curtis Gonzalez, which he will undoubtedly start the game against the US June 8th if he's fit.
Yep, I agree. All those points spot on. Dennis Lawrence, what I like, now that I think about it a bit more, that our A-game players then, technically they were like Houghton Hector and those guys, they came on and they turned the game around, which if you're interpreting the game from an analytical point of view, that's a very good sign. The point is it's still Grenada, and people could argue the opposition is not where it should be, but it shows that the team has character, which is very important. It's not really a great sign to see that we're kind of struggling, but we have to take that with a grain of salt when you're analyzing these games, because there's a fan reaction, we drew. How could we draw against Grenada? But then it's the little details like what you narrowed down point by point. There's certain things Dennis Lawrence is trying. He tried solutions with Marshall. He seems to be giving Gonzalez a lot of runs. You made a very valid point where continuity is very important. So he can't tinker that much. So he's what it seems to me is that he has his 11 set, and he has very clear objectives about who he wants and why he wants them. He obviously is looking for attacking alternatives. He tried a couple different solutions in midfield, because that I think is a smart thing to do. I think in the short term, it'll be unfair to judge him, because I think it'll be very harsh. Let's say, God forbid, we play USA and we lose, and it all goes to I think he is... Yeah. Oh, no. But I think Dennis Lawrence is a guy that should have been, ideally for me, given a full cycle to work. So you could really see his work, because I am very impressed with how he analyzes games, because we saw him as a player, and we saw him in Everton and all those, when we're looking at the EPL, you see Lawrence in the background. But I listened to him, we had conversations, and the way he interprets games, even how he analyzed the game, when I read on the TTFA report, he has very specific things that he wants to work on, he identifies.
Really articulate.
Yes, and I am very impressed with that. I think if given time, he could work really well, but now they need results, and I hope he gets it. I think he is doing the best he possibly can. So it's exciting to see what he does in the upcoming game, because it's very close. I mean, a couple weeks away, to be honest. I mean, it's June really, but that's really might as well be tomorrow in footballing days. It's good to have alternatives. The reason being, and a lot of fans were asking me this, if you have injuries, Dennis Lawrence now has a pool of players he could call from, not just the 11. Oh no, if Kenvin Jones is injured, who are we going to call? Now we are seeing that we have some players now that have international experience, the Roaches, but Winchester and those guys. So it's exciting. It's not the ideal result. I know the average fan won't be happy with that, but I see a lot of positives in the approach. I see a lot of negatives too. I think Dennis Lawrence saw the negatives and he's working on them, and that's a positive sign if you're a fan of Trinidad Tobago football.
And this game against the Spice Boys, Andre, I think that of Grenada, players that may not be accustomed to playing on that national platform got that opportunity. And that will undoubtedly be grateful and good in the future, because these are the same pool of players we may have to rely on come 5-6 years from now. So it's good that they get this experience uphand and beforehand for a guy like Lawrence. And why? Because I think Lawrence can be there for a while, and that will only be good. So you can have that good background of knowledge of players in high intense scenarios. So in my opinion, Lawrence may be there for a while, which is really good, and that'll be good for Trinidad football. So yeah. Okay, so Kevin, with that being said, we do have an uphill task. We spoke about it many times in all our previews. We didn't make things easy on ourselves. The Mexico game was honestly a pin through the heart for me. It was.
Because we played one of our best games I've ever seen.
A dagger.
Yes, a dagger. Not even a pin, a dagger. A spear. Whatever, who knows. And if we keep playing the way we are playing, I've seen Trinidad adapt. It's exciting for the future, but we need results right now. As a fan, I'm nervous, but I think we are capable from what I've seen. and let's see how it goes. So Kevon, with that being said, where can we find you?
Kev868 on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at Andre Soklal on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Extra Time TT for stuff you don't normally see on the show. Pictures like of Aymar and our interaction with Aymar, or skill challenges, meeting the president of FIFA, Kevon doing headers, I don't know. But so be sure to follow us on Instagram at Extra Time TT. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Because when you do that, Kevon, you can tell them what they automatically qualify for.
A chance to win a copy of FIFA 17.
Yes, and also tickets to upcoming Trinidad and Tobago games, both men, women, as well as cool prizes from my store.
Okay guys, so that wraps things up of this episode of Extra Time TV. Be sure to tune in next time and like and subscribe. Check us out below.